realized I had left my lucky bracelet in my gym locker after the last day of school before summer vacation. The bracelet was a gift from my late grandmother, and it held great sentimental value. I felt uneasy without it. One warm summer evening, while my parents were out, I decided to sneak into the school to get it back. I knew the janitor kept a spare key hidden near the back door, a trick I learned from my friends. As I walked through the empty schoolyard, the setting sun cast long shadows, making the familiar school building look strange and eerie. My heart pounded as I approached the back door. I found the key hidden in its usual spot and let myself in. The cool air of the deserted school sent a chill down my spine. The hallways, usually bustling with students, were silent and dark. Only the faint hum of the air conditioning broke the silence. My footsteps echoed as I made my way to the gym. The quiet was unsettling, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I tried to push the fear aside, focusing on getting my bracelet and leaving as quickly as possible. I made my way to the gym, my footsteps echoing in the empty hallways. The sound seemed to bounce off the walls, making the school feel even more deserted. I pushed open the heavy gym doors and stepped inside. The gym, usually filled with the sounds of bouncing balls and chattering students, was now oppressively quiet. The dim lighting created eerie shadows on the walls, making everything look different and spooky. As I approached my locker, I heard faint echoes and the sound of something being dragged across the floor. I tried to tell myself it was just the old building settling, but my heart began to race. I opened my locker and quickly retrieved the bracelet, feeling a little better now that I had it. But the unsettling noises continued, growing louder and more persistent. I looked around nervously, my eyes darting from shadow to shadow. That's when I caught a glimpse of a shadow moving on the far wall. Panic set in as I realized I wasn't alone. The gym suddenly felt much darker and more sinister. I heard faint, heavy breathing and the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps. My mind raced as I tried to figure out what to do. The fear that had been gnawing at me now gripped me fully. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and my hands started to tremble. The gym, which had once been a place of fun and activity, now felt like a trap. I had to get out of there, but I didn't know where to go. The footsteps were getting closer, and I knew I had to act fast. I moved quietly towards the exit, trying to keep my breathing steady. Just as I reached the door, it slammed shut with a loud bang. I jumped and turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows. It was Mr. Grady, the former janitor who had been recently fired for inappropriate behavior. He looked disheveled and unhinged, his eyes wild and unfocused. He started talking to himself, muttering about how the school still belonged to him. "You shouldn't have come back," he said, his voice low and menacing. "Now you're part of my game." I tried to reason with him, my voice trembling. "Mr. Grady, I just came to get my bracelet. I'm leaving now." But my words only seemed to agitate him more. He took a step closer, his eyes narrowing. "You're not leaving," he said, his voice rising. "No one leaves my game." Panic surged through me, and I made a dash for the main entrance. But Mr. Grady was faster than I expected. He anticipated my move and locked the doors before I could reach them. Desperation set in as I ran to the emergency exit, but it was also locked. I could hear Mr. Grady laughing, the sound echoing through the empty gym. "You can't escape," he taunted. "You're trapped." I bolted towards the locker rooms, hoping to find a place to hide. I slipped inside and locked the door behind me, my breath coming in short gasps. I could hear Mr. Grady's footsteps getting closer, and I scrambled to find something to defend myself with. I grabbed a heavy metal bar from one of the lockers and held it tightly. The door rattled as Mr. Grady tried to force it open. My heart pounded in my chest as I looked around for another way out. I spotted a small window high up on the wall. With no other choice, I climbed up and squeezed through, cutting my hands on the glass. I dropped to the ground outside and ran down the hallway, leaving a trail of blood behind me. I reached the cafeteria and hid behind the kitchen counter, trying to steady my breathing. I could hear Mr. Grady enter, his muttering louder now. He started searching for me, knocking over tables and chairs in his frustration. I spotted a phone on the wall and quietly made my way towards it, praying it still worked. I picked up the receiver and dialed 911, my hands shaking. Just as the call connected, Mr. Grady saw me and charged. In a desperate move, I grabbed a pot of hot coffee from the counter and threw it in his face. He screamed in pain, temporarily blinded. I pushed past him and ran towards the principal's office, my heart racing. I locked the door behind me and waited for help, my hands still shaking from the adrenaline. I crouched in the principal's office, my heart pounding, my hands shaking. I could still hear Mr. Grady's enraged shouts as he tried to break into the office. The door rattled violently, and I feared it wouldn't hold for much longer, but then I heard the faint sound of sirens approaching. A wave of relief washed over me, knowing help was on the way. The sirens grew louder, and soon I saw the flashing lights of police cars outside the window. The door continued to shake under Mr. Grady's assault, but I knew it wouldn't be much longer. The police arrived just in time. They burst into the school and subdued Mr. Grady, freeing me from my terrifying ordeal. I was shaken but unharmed, grateful that my quick thinking had saved my life. Reflecting on the experience later, I learned that Mr. Grady had been living in the school's basement since his dismissal. Believing it was still his domain, the authorities managed to get him the help he needed, but the incident left me deeply shaken. I never go anywhere alone at night again, and always make sure someone knows where I am. The memory of that night stays with me, a chilling reminder of how quickly a familiar place can turn dangerous.